Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Organizing in the Time of COVID-19. My name is Firoz Manji from Daraja Press. I'm really pleased today to have Gacheke Gachihi from the Mathare Social Justice Centre in Nairobi, Kenya. You may remember that one of our first interviews was with Gacheke. And we decided that we would call him back because of the appalling situation that's developing in Kenya, where in fact it seems that the policy of the government has been to kill by using repression and curfews. So I'm going to be talking to Gacheke about this situation. Gacheke, a warm welcome to you. Really good to have you. I hope that you are keeping safe. And
Yes, Feroz,
good. Well,
yes, Feroz, thank you very much.
Gacheke, it seems that there's reports of lot of repression, violence by the police, and lockdown, forcing people to lock down in Nairobi, and it seems to be increasing. What exactly is happening? Tell us about
Okay, comrade, is a very bad situation that this crisis of COVID-19, it is being enforced by not a democratic state. It found us when we are in a crisis, economic crisis. We had a regime that was not accountable. So the challenge we are facing in Kenya is in the other African country is that this system has no solution about this crisis. We have a problem with the healthcare system. Before even a healthcare system had collapsed, so we are finding a regime that has no solution with the issues of healthcare, and all they are using is a police violence, police state, to enforce the down, and that's the biggest problem that we are facing at the moment. Sorry.
Is this just happening in Mathare, or is it happening in across Nairobi, across the different cities, Kisumu, Mombasa?
Yeah, in fact, it started in Mombasa, where the people were crossing fairly. The police came the day the curfew was announced, and immediately they started attacking people as they were crossing the ferry. Many of people were injured, and along the way, one person also lost his life. At the moment, we were talking about 18 people since the curfew started. The crackdown, the police enforcement of the rule of law, it has cost more people than even the COVID coronavirus itself. So it's a major challenge, and the biggest challenge is that the state itself, it character, it uses violence in everything. So we are finding a problem of even comparating with the state itself, because every time they are using violence to enforce the curfew. That's the danger we are facing. And the other thing, healthcare system had already collapsed. So we have a major problem that the state is trying to enforce the curfew, and at the same time it has no solution. At the moment, we are having a casualty of many members or many people from a healthcare network. The trade union that is involved with doctors and nurses and pharmacists, they are already complaining that they have lost number of their people, and the government is not even to answer the question about how they'll protect the people. So that's the problem, that the draconian state is using violence also to silence the voice of reason, that would say, instead of using violence and police state, let's use a reason. Let's see how we can come together and solve this problem together as a community. That's the biggest challenge. It's not only Nairobi, Kisumu, everywhere in the major town. There have been reported cases of the police brutality and police killing spread across the country. Mathare, in the informal settlement, in last week, 2 cases were reported of young people who were killed here in Mathare. Hassan Moyo. In Roy, there was a young person who was killed at Kawasha, in Mombasa, in Nakuru, and also in Kisumu. So all this police brutality and killing is spread.
So help us understand why is the state operating this way? Why are they using police violence? What's going on? Is this politically motivated? What is the reason for this excessive use of force?
Feroz, and you know about the history of Kenya. This regime is not a democratic state. It is a colonial state. It has been there since independence. Its political violence character is historical. So this crisis of COVID has found us with this state. It has no solution for the basic needs: healthcare, education, housing, and even food. So you can see, even my background in Mathare, when you say you are enforcing lockdown in a shack dwellers where there is no water, there is no healthcare, what do you mean? It is violence. It is violence meeting violence of poverty. State violence also meeting people who have been dehumanized for many years. And then the state is copying solution from other countries like Europe or Scandinavian country, where you are saying people to stay home with the internet. People have no connection with the internet, they have no food, so they are facing two kind of problem: an epidemic that is very violent in health wise, and then hunger. So historically we don't have a state that can solve people's problem. So we are what they have is an instrument of violence. It's not an instrument to resolve people's problem like food and healthcare. That's the problem we are facing. We are facing a state that is not the state of the people. And this is a major crisis in Africa, that we still have a state, the only they have thing in their hands is instrument of violence, not something to resolve the people's problem. And this is the biggest problem. And this crisis has exposed a state like Kenya, that it has no solution for our people.
The like many other countries in Africa, the use of curfew. Now, what is curfew supposed to? What's the rationale for that? Is it a belief that the virus only spreads at night? What's the purpose of a curfew?
What's the purpose of the curfew? And then the curfew start from 7 p.m. to tomorrow morning 5 a.m. So the state believe that at night we African people, especially people in Nairobi, interact a lot at night. But the reason of putting a curfew during at night, partial curfew, is because during the day it's not possible. You can't put people at curfew during the night and during the day, because you have nothing to give them. So you have to allow them during the day to go and look for food, because they live hands to mouth. Then they come out in the evening, then you lock them up. An example, if you look the way people treat people at prison, you know, prison, people during the night people are locked in, and during the day they are allowed to go and get the sun and maybe have food. That's the way now we have in Africa. Poverty,
so what you're saying,
violence is like prison. It's
a mass prisons.
Yeah, a mass prison. It's like prison. You lock them at night. During the day, you allow them to go have a sun and some water. Then they come back. You lock them again. That's the reason. That's how they are doing here in Africa. They have found themselves. They have nothing to give their people. They have no food. They have no water. They have no health care. So what do? You lock them at night. During the day, you open the doors. People get. It's a model of a prison, a mass prison. And this is a crisis of the neoliberal economic model for the last 30 years.
So do you see any emergence of protest, opposition, organizing against this kind of repression?
Yeah, comrades, there is a lot that we are doing, and especially Social Justice Center. We're really doing great work. and especially on organizing. And across Nairobi, I can tell you we have 16 social justice centers, starting with the Mathare Social Justice Centre. Then they are spread all over 16 social justice centers. The best thing is that this crisis is opening up political consciousness for the people, because already all the political class are not around. And you see political class in Kenya during election, they're able to give everybody a t-shirt or like kofia, but now they can't even provide even a mask for their people who vote for them every 5 years. And this message is setting a message across the country to the working class and the poor people from the urban informal settlement, that they are all alone. And we are organizing that. We have a social justice center working group, and you have seen we have been issuing statement of the demand of the government provide people with food, provide people with water, with a mask, and also demand that health workers who are in the front line, they also be provided with personal protective equipment, things that they can protect them during, because they are the one who are meeting these people. And with the poor infrastructure of healthcare, the people who pay the heavy price are the doctors and the nurses and the paramedics who are in the front line. So we are organizing. We are organizing all over. We have not slept through this crisis like yourself. We are organizing, and our voice is being held across the country. We have different social justice centers, and also we are monitoring. And I send you a report you saw between us and the UN. We have done a monitoring and showed that the crisis that ordinary people are facing. So this is an opportunity also for ordinary people to organize and sharpen the contradiction, and so that this crisis is affecting people differently. The rich, the middle class are being affected differently, but the poor also are being affected differently. And there's an opportunity for us to say, the time to show that in the last 3 years, the government has not organized, has not done any investment for ordinary poor people. And we are shaping up, comrades, I can tell you. We have not slept through this crisis.
One of the things that's coming up in a number of parts of the world is that it is women who are facing one of the greatest burdens as a result of this. Can you give us some idea of what you know about the conditions that women are facing in Mathare and in other settlements?
First of all, women also carry the biggest burden because in informal settlement, majority of households are headed by women, single women. That's the biggest challenge. And when you lock them inside the informal settlement where there is no livelihoods, what happens? Ordinary women will see themselves, their kids starving. That's the biggest problem. And majority of these women, they are the one who, when the government is talking about giving them food, they are the one who are trying to come out, and they are the one who are facing a lot of violence, especially when they come out and when government is trying to give them these packages of food, which is not even organized. Like in Kibera, majority of the women who are trampled up when they were going to the queue for food were women. The other thing is a majority of this informal settlement are women who are in the markets, are doing the vegetable selling, mama mboga, and also cooking food along and selling along the streets. So the biggest challenge when the lockdown comes, these are the women are facing. The other thing, biggest problem is the increase of the domestic violence. A lot of women are reporting cases to different community centers about being victimized and also facing domestic violence, and issues of livelihood. When you strip women opportunity of earning, working around the informal settlement, so it is starve them. So that's the biggest challenge, is that women are double facing this problem, that they can't feed their kids, they cannot get out, and also at the same time they are being victimized by the husband or their partner. So is a double burden for women, especially in the formal settlement. And it's the same thing even in the rural areas, where the women are the one who are the one who are supposed to provide food, provide labor in the peace and farming. So it's biggest challenge for women, and this coronavirus, it has really exposed most of the people who have been marginalized by these are people who have been struggling with the poverty, with hopelessness, with this neoliberal economy. Most people who have been affected are women, and especially the question of water. When a community they don't have water, the first casualty or the first victims are women and young women who go to fetch water. Also, and also women who are supposed to provide water to their household. That's the situation we are in, and especially not only in Kenya and also in Mathare, Dandora, and wherever. It's across now, maybe all the capital city in Africa where there's no water, and the women are supposed to provide water for their household.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about is that, oh, looks like we've lost him. Oh dear. Let's wait a moment for him to come back. While we're waiting for him to do so, I just put up the info email address of Daraja Press. What I was going to ask Gacheke was, how do we support the work of the social justice centers, which are spread around the settlements in Nairobi? And we need help. I think my last conversation with Gacheke, so he needs help to set up some kind of crowdfunding source to help raise money for the struggle that they are involved with. And so this is an appeal in a way to say, could you, if you are experienced in setting up these kind of things, if you could get in touch with me and we can find a way of supporting Gacheke and his social justice center. I was just explaining, Gacheke, that I put out an appeal for people who can help set up a crowdfunding source to help the social justice centers. And so I put my email address up there so that people can contact us, and we'll see what we can do to support the work that you're doing. So I mean, it seems to me that the main message needs to be that the lockdown, the social distancing, is about protecting the middle classes from any of the diseased, they assume, people in the settlements. Is that how you're seeing it?
Yeah, so it's social distancing, washing your hands, staying at home. Those are middle class solutions. Who have a home is a middle class. Who can access clean water is a middle class. Who can access sanitizer is a middle class. So these are solutions for middle class. And I think the world was not prepared for this crisis because of the economic model that has been there for a long time. So these are middle class solutions. And casualty, and these many people who will face this problem are poor people, Feroz. And this is a wake-up call for everybody that the economic model that has been there for the last 30 years has been an economic model that has exposed people, that has left people to remain in a shanty town. No, when you say lockdown, who has a contractual employment for a month? It's not ordinary people who are casual laborers, who are mamamboga, who people go to the factory door every day to look for a job, who people who do hand washing with their hands and they are paid for an hour. They are ordinary people. So when you tell people lockdown, stay at home, these are middle class solutions, and these are solutions that they have been copied by our African government, from Europe, from China, and maybe from North America. And the other thing, just imagine, this crisis will hurt most of the poor. You can see some reports saying that a country like South Sudan, it has four presidents and it has 4 ventilators. Like Kenya, a country with 47 million people, it has only 200 ventilators. Across the country, many hospitals, they don't have enough doctors, nurses, or people even who cannot know even to operate these ventilators. So it's a major crisis. And these things people have been talking about. We need to invest in healthcare. We need to invest in our food system. We need to strengthen our peasant farmers. They didn't hear. We need to do away with the sharks. We need to do away with the way people live. We need to build houses for our people. We need to connect people with our water. These are messages that had been there in the last 30 years. The issue of a structured adjustment program has been there for the last 30 years. It has stripped bare our people. I hope you can hear me, comrade.
Yeah, I can hear. We got cut off for a short while. Tell us more about the work of the social justice centers, because I think when we last spoke, you were saying you need help for people to support the work that you're doing, and so it would be helpful for people to know more about the work of the social justice centers.
So, Social Justice Center is a response to this crisis, not only coronavirus crisis, but many other viruses of neoliberal economy. Yeah, in the last 5 years, we have been facing a lot of extrajudicial killing. That's why we started Mathare Social Justice Centre to document cases of extrajudicial killing in the informal settlement. As you know, the government has been doing social cleansing of the young people in informal settlement. It has been killing young people below 24 years to 14 years. So this is what we have been doing. Now we have a 16 social justice center in the informal settlement. So we are facing challenges, especially our frontline human rights defender who are documenting these cases. We need to support them with the internet, with some small livelihood package of food so that they can survive, because they are documenting these cases. We have monitors spread across 16 social justice centers who are documenting cases of human rights violation and making sure that wherever there is people raising alarm against police brutality, or there are people who are saying that they are being affected, we are doing this and supporting them, and also doing graffiti as a part of public education or political education. So we also need people to support us with the little they can and send us more support, especially to send to our frontline human rights defender and social justice activists. This will be very important so that also they can continue documenting and also creating awareness and also raising alarm and documenting this violation where they happen. That's why we need a solidarity support, and especially to document. We are documenting using a phone and maybe sending also solidarity support to our comrades in different informal settlement using a mobile phone, and also getting sanitizers that can help our people, our comrades. And also we have a solidarity fund kitty that we are using to send a support to our members in different informal settlement. That's why we need a solidarity support for comrades. What you can do, we cannot do as a social justice movement, we cannot do a lot of social distancing. What we can do is solidarity among ourselves.
Yeah, well, if there's anyone who is watching the show and is experienced in setting up various crowdfunding sources, who could help us set something up so that we can support the work of the social justice centers, I think that would be great. Just to put our email address again, you can write to info@darajapress.com, and I will get pass the messages on to Gacheke. Gacheke, one final question I have for you. There was a disturbing report which came in the last few days about how the Gates Foundation has been doing experiments using Africans as guinea pigs for an immunization using nanoparticles which are put under the skin. All they've done is they've done these tests with rats, and now in order to test it further, they're trying, and it's in Kenya that they are doing that. Can you tell us something more about what's going on?
It's horrible, Feroz, and I just read those news in the newspapers and also in the social media. It's very horrible, Feroz, and I tell you how the black life has become cheap in this global. We are in the chain. We are in the last one. We are the one who are being used as as a guinea pig, not only by Gilgit, but very many others, multinational company who are testing this kind of vaccine and drugs. I think Bill Gates is his wealth for as a corporation is a, the arrogance of the rich people in this world, the level of the arrogance that they have felt that they can use African people like a guinea pig. That's not only that, many other, even the GMO, all testing of the new science that is destroying humanity is being done in Africa. But as you can see, our African leaders have allowed this. The neo-colonial state, the big men in the state house, the people, the minister of agriculture, the minister of healthcare, they are the one who are allowing Bill Gates and all these multinational to mess up with the life of our people. Not only in the seeds, now they have come to testing a human being like us, using us as a guinea pig. It's very sad. And you know, Bill Gates, before even this coronavirus had come, he had already predicted that it will be very challenging for poor country to fight viruses. So it's something that even him, when you scan the horizon, it's like something these people had known for a long time. So this is very bad. But what we can say is, Feroz, this is a struggle of our lifetime. This is a struggle of our lifetime because
go on.
how?
Continue.
This is a struggle for our lifetime. It's a struggle for our lifetime. Is it defending our life with our life and our dignity? Is it this as a Palestinian says, nothing beyond a dignity. And the Palestinian people died for their dignity. Even us now in Africa, we have to die for our dignity. We cannot accept Bill Gates and multinational company to use our lives as a guinea pig, so that them they can survive and us we die. That's horrible. That's the end where the imperialist has reached. That's the end of the imperialism now, because if it has reached the level of destroying our life with the experiencing modern science, then for us it's a form of surveillance. If they use the nanoparticles to inject you in your body, that's telling you they'll be looking in surveillance. They can decide who to live and who to die. It's like what we are talking with our health ventilators. They can say who to get a ventilator, who to get health care, who to get a mask. Now, with those kind of nanoparticles being implanted in your body, they can decide which race to survive and which race not to survive. That's where we have reached with the coronavirus. It's a struggle of our lifetime, comrade.
And there was talk in America about doing experiments in Africa on the any potential vaccine that was developed for coronavirus. I hope that you and others will be organizing to prevent that ever happening again. The condemnation of Africans as guinea pigs of American science is something outrageous. Gacheke, are there any other particular messages you would like to give before we close the show? I'm aware that you need to. You've got the lockdown coming up. You've got curfew. So I don't want to keep you too long. But if there's any other messages that you would like to give, please, last few words.
So a few words first. Thank you very much, Feroz. You have not allowed this crisis to go on waste. We have made sure that we are in the global platform, sharing our ideas, articulating our views, and mostly important as social justice movement, as social justice center. What we are saying is educate, organize, and liberate. And especially during this COVID-19 crisis, ours is to say that this is our struggle. It's a struggle for dignity and social justice. And that's why we started social justice movement, to build a united front, to build political structure for political mobilization, not only for COVID crisis, it is for us to demand right to water, right to healthcare, right to education. It demands our dignity back. What we can say, as many comrades are saying, is also a demand for us to breathe, a demand for humanity back. Well, and I request for people to give us solidarity and support. Thank you very much, Comrade Feroz. I'm doing this interview in Mathare behind there, you can see.
Yes.
That's why I need to go back.
Okay, well,
That's why I need to run and go back before the curfew.
okay, well, you look after yourself, be careful, and give our greetings and solidarity to all those at the Social Justice Centre. And thank you for sparing time to come on the show. That's Gacheke.
Thank you very much.
Okay, go well. Be safe.
Thank you. Viva!
Viva, viva. That was
Thank you.
Gacheke Gachihi from the Mathare Social Justice Centre. Just to repeat once more, if you have experience in setting up crowdfunding sources on the internet, which can be set up for the Mathare Social Justice Centre, please do get in touch with us at info@darajapress.com. I think it's really important that that there is amongst the informal settlements in Kenya organizing going on that is of a serious nature and a great risky nature given the repression and coercion used by the Kenya government. So thank you for joining us on this show. This is Feroz Manji signing off and wishing you a safe weekend and coming week.